Hello world of YouTube, I am not critically acclaimed actor,
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
but I am some guy who sits on his chair in the internet and talks about things. And last year, I made a video that was sort of a thinking exercise, a creative exercise as it were, in video form, where I looked at Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker and talked about how I'd personally change it in ways that I think would benefit it and make it better. And I felt like doing another one of those, actually a couple of them, so you'll see them crop up here and there throughout the rest of the year, but I figured I'd start here because if you've been following me stream, which you totally should by the way, I played the most recent entry in the Pokemon franchise, a franchise that I love, for the first time live. And it's a game that I had fun with in pockets, but by the end of it, I was definitely seeing a lot of the frustrations people had and shared some of them greatly. And I had this nagging feeling of thinking of ways that it could be better. Because I want Pokemon to be a holistically fun experience, not just one fun in pockets. Plus, if you watched Wednesday Boys, Tyler and Evan talked about Pokemon Sword and Shield a lot in that show. So, this feels like sort of a continuation from threads left in the Wednesday Boys camp. So, today I'm going to be sitting down and talking about how I personally would want to fix Pokemon Sword and Shield. Why can't I just beat the game, huh? Why I gotta do more of this stuff? Why I gotta do this? Why? I think this goes without saying, but spoilers for a lot of the plot of Pokemon Sword and Shield and some of the late game stuff, because that's where a lot of my gripes and what I would change lay. Now, when it comes to discussing this game and the discourse surrounding it from Pokemon fans, there's some things that I agree with that generally people want to fix with the game, and others that I don't necessarily hate as a concept, and I understand why they're there. So they're going to be kind of touched on lightly. Stuff like the tutorial stuff being really drawn out. Yeah, that annoyed me when I was playing the game proper.
Just give me some Pokeballs. Let me catch some Pokemon, and let me be on my goddamn way. Like, I get it. It's Pokemon. You've always got to introduce...
This motherfucker will not let me walk.
Neither will this guy. Will both of you just leave me alone and let me adventure?
But really, that feels like it's there for new players or younger kids, the target demo for Pokemon, so clearly me playing almost all the games are going to get annoyed by that, but that's kind of a convention of a lot of games. The early games are also super filled with tutorial stuff, so I'm not going to complain about it as like a grand thing that needs fixed with the game. It's there for a reason. But I also see a lot of discourse around like reused assets and animations and stuff. That stuff annoys me. I get that it's probably because of time crunching, but that could have been fixed if they just had more time to work on the game. I think that a lot of the character animation is either that's rehashed or is just lazy, and I strive for more from Pokemon, but that's gonna digress that. And I'm gonna focus on the gripes that I had at its core that I would want to change outside of the stuff that I know a lot of people talk about. One thing I will say that I'll just spend a little more time on that is a feature that other people don't like is the EXP share thing. I think that it's frustrating that it's always on for everybody. I'd rather have it as a switched on or switched off feature like an X and Y because it gives people that don't want to grind the option to not grind. But as somebody who plays Pokemon to see my Pokemon grow, I don't want to have the EXP share on all the time. You know, I don't want to distribute the wealth amongst my whole party. Like, I don't mind having an EXP share for one Pokemon potentially if they're like a lower level and I'm trying to get them up. But I don't want everybody to have that. That just seems kind of pointless.
And I like to train my Pokemon individually. I feel like I develop a relationship with my Pokemon when I do that.
But that's the last point that I had that everyone else kind of echoes as like an issue with Sword and Shield. These are things that I'm not sure. I haven't really had these kind of conversations about Pokemon Sword and Shield discourse outside of my friend circle. So if these are things that you also take issue with from a plot perspective with Sword and Shield or a pacing perspective, let me know in the comments down below. One of the things that I really loved about Sword and Shield was the wild area. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was really cool to have this big zone that I could just catch random-ass Pokemon in. And I liked that after you leave the first area, you go back to it to go to the second big hub area. And I kind of wish the wild area was just a consistent thread throughout the game. You know, even to the point where you could start at the bottom and get to the top, but be funneled through by encountering stronger and stronger Pokemon. I had an experience like that when I was first going from the first hub area to the second hub area, but after that, the wild area just feels like an afterthought, and that's kind of something you'll hear me reiterate at points as far as features that I like that just feel like they become an afterthought when it comes to later in the game design. But I like the wild area a lot in Sword and Shield, and I really wish that it was integrated throughout the entire package. Like, you can keep going from the first hub area to the second hub area, the castle, where you keep circling back to, but it'd be cool to like go from there and go up to another area that then kind of funnels you back to Wedgehurst or to another area. You know, if it was, Evan described it as a big map with little hubs, but I don't mind it being like strictly stuck to the vertical and you just climb up the island essentially. The harder Pokemon being near the top. It's very direct symbolism, but I kind of like it. You can even have the castle be at the top, as far as like it being the actual focal point of the tower, and have the second area not be something you loop back to. But I just wish the wild area were integrated more into the game itself. You know, I like it, and I liked exploring it when I was done with the game, but it's something that I still feel like is underutilized as a concept throughout the game as a whole, and it's frustrating. I also, speaking of that, wish gym challenges weren't just an afterthought by the end of the game. You know, the last gym that's really worth a damn for the challenge perspective was the ice one. And I like the ice one a lot, but I mean, the Team Yell gym didn't really have a challenge. The last gym was just a room, and you just cycled through battles. You know, the gym challenge aspect becomes as underutilized as the wild area, in my opinion, you know? I don't know if the DLC does this, but the DLC could have even had more small little challenges like that. I thought it was neat. I thought it was really, really cool. Given Blaine's my favorite gym in Gen 1, I liked seeing more gyms focused around challenges. Kind of wish there was more of that in Sword and Shield, given they were trying really hard to focus on that aspect from the beginning. You know, it's just, again, another concept that feels sort of stalled out by the end of it, unfortunately. And as far as a character that I wish just kind of bounced back by the end of the game, outside of just randomly showing up at the end, I wish that the purple-haired rival came back. Because I liked the dynamic of having multiple rivals that all had different motives as opposed to X and Y when they tried that. I like that you have your best friend rival who's just there to gash you up while you continuously just beat his team into dust. I like the Team Yell rival that comes in, and I honestly wish she came in a little earlier so that your teams could kind of grow coincided as well, along with having Hobbs' team grow in strength as you play. You know, it would have added a different kind of dynamic.
I also like how their dynamics feel more integrated into the world as a whole. The world building in Sword and Shield, I think it's kind of nice at points. You know, I like how your best friend is the younger sibling of the champion, your ultimate, you know, focal point as far as endgame is considered. You've got Marnie, who is with Team Yell, the bad guy seemingly, even though they are one of the weaker attributes of the game as a whole, as far as their point. I kind of still like that they have them in here. I do wish that they were more tied to the plot, but as far as like the antagonistic side of the plot, but you know, they have their own gym later on. It's kind of neat. I don't know. Again, there's parts of the world building that I think are nice. You know, Bede or Bede is an underling of the chairman, who is the real focal point as far as the antagonist goes. You know, there's a lot of plot with him, and I like how he goes from that to being integrated in the world. I don't mind him becoming a gym leader mid-game. I think that's really neat.
But having the purple guy come in and just sweep through, or attempt to sweep through your team later on, would have felt much more gratifying. But when he comes in, his team sucks, and you just sweep through him. And it's really unfortunate. I kind of wish that he didn't just fuck off and came back as a joke almost, you know? I kind of wish he had a little more strength. He could have even come in after his injection point into the story and fight you, or fight with you in the chairman. There's a multitude of ways this character could have come back and been a stronger presence by the end of the game, but instead, he just comes in one more time for a punchline and gets knocked to dust, and it's unfortunate. Speaking of the chairman, though, if you guys watched me stream this game, you know I hated grinding through the last portion of this game.
It's like you took the words out of my mouth that I said like 10 minutes ago, man. The game is aware of how frustrating the stupid pacing of this plot is. I really want to know if I'll beat Pokemon today now. From your perspective, I suppose it must seem that I'm doing something terrible. Well, you are. You're stopping me from beating the game right now.
This game refuses to end. It diverges you so much from the champion fight that by the time you make your way back to the champion fight, you're like, oh yeah, I still gotta fight this fucker. I've already done the whole saving the world shtick. Why do I gotta do this? It feels so out of place. Instead, they should have had you fight your fight with Leon, become the champion, and then deal with the Chairman Rose and the legendary Pokemon and all that shit. It feels so out of place. It feels so disjointed. You know, they interrupt the Elite Four too many times by the end of the game. Because not only do you get interrupted with the Chairman Rose shit, the purple-haired guy comes in and interrupts your fight. There's a whole lot. Just let me beat the game. Let me beat the game, and you make all this other stuff, this flavor text, post-game, post-championship. And it would have made your action of saving the world feel like it has a little more weight, because now the world knows, now Galar knows, the Galar region knows, the new champion's gonna have shit on lock. You know, because technically you saved the world under Leon's championship. With you as champion, saving the world from this Dynamax shit would have felt like it gave your character a little more weight as a hero to me. I mean, you're still saving the world, so you got a lot of gratification out of it, sure, but the point that it comes in just feels ever so slightly and frustratingly off that I wish it were just different. And another thing to kind of alleviate a big issue that people have with post-game stuff, I know that the DLC fixes some things, but it would have been cool to give the game sort of a longevity, and if they would have continued to support it, to slowly integrate the national decks into the game. Because, I mean, between its release and now, we haven't had like a new generational game, but we've got a remake and something else on the horizon. You're telling me in this time, with how lazy of a job you did at having Pokemon in this game, you couldn't just unravel characters, slowly roll them out, you get the national decks, and not only do you have to sort of keep up track with the game, you could have integrated like an Animal Crossing concept where certain Pokemon are only available during certain seasons. Sure, the wild area is like an insane ecosystem and there's so many different weather climates going on, but you could have honed that in and either have certain areas have certain Pokemon, or have only certain Pokemon show up during different times of day or different seasons of the year. You know what I mean? To give you more motivation to revisit this game. And in tandem with that, you could have had like events happen with certain legendary Pokemon, like, oh, Celebi's dropping, like what happened in Pokemon Go. You couldn't integrate that in Sword and Shield? It seems a little weird. It seems a little wacky. It seems a little goofy to me. I feel like those kind of things could have given the game a longer lifespan. You know, having support in the game really means a lot to some people. Hell, Smash Brothers has been out for a long-ass time and it's still getting support. How could Pokemon, which is seemingly the most successful entertainment franchise ever, not get the same level of care and support when it came to a mainline game like Sword and Shield, given it was the first of its kind on a console? Like, sure, the Switch is also a portable console, but it's a console at the same time. So I felt like there should have been at least some sort of upgrade to its presentation and its longevity that extended past what we saw in games like all the portable ones before it, like X and Y, Sword and Shield, or Black and White 2 and below. You know, I don't know. It's stuff like that I feel like holds the game back. Sure, a lot of the complaints people have made about it, the laziness and all that sort of stuff, that's still true. But there's other things that still bother me that I felt like could have given this game legs in a way that no other Pokemon game had before, given it had a different type of presentation altogether. That's kind of how I would fix Pokemon Sword and Shield. What do you think? How would you fix Sword and Shield? Do you like Sword and Shield? Let me know in the comments down below. Did you like my stream of it? Let me know in those comments down below. If you did like this video, the sort of thinking exercise of how I'd fix Sword and Shield, give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general nerdy content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you want to join the ranks to get early access to content, exclusive content, or to help drive the community, it's linked in the description. I'm going to get out of here, though. Thank you so very much for watching. I've been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.